Like many successful aircraft, the story of the U-2, short for Training Aircraft 2, began with its engine. In the 1920s, flight crews of the fledgling Soviet Union were training on outdated planes, and the lack of domestic engines forced the country to buy decommissioned engines from abroad. By July 1926, with the development of the excellent domestic M11 engine, Polikarpov finally had the chance to design a new training aircraft. Drawing from his previous experience, he completed the design in just a few months. Just 2 years later, on January 7, 1928, the U-2 took its first flight. This was the plane we now recognize, a plywood biplane with a top speed slower than the stall speed of the Bf-109 fighter, yet free from many of the issues usually seen in new designs and ready to show its capabilities. The U-2 showed excellent stability in the air and was intuitive to fly, even for novice pilots. It was so stable that simply releasing the control stick was enough to recover from an intentional spin. At a time when many aircraft, even trainers, were difficult to handle, the U-2's forgiving nature immediately earned it widespread recognition. For many years, it remained the primary training aircraft of the Soviet Union, training tens of thousands of pilots. At the start of World War II, the U-2 took on an unexpected new role for such a slow and fragile flying desk. In the fall of 1941, Polikarpov and other engineers converted it into a light night bomber. The biplane's structure, with its very low wing loading, allowed for a significant increase in takeoff weight, up to nearly 1,400 kilograms, of which 300 could be bombs. Bomb racks and small bomb containers were mounted under the fuselage and lower wing. SHKAS, or DA machine guns, were installed for the gunner, and the pilot received a bomb sight. The U-2's primary mission as a light night bomber was to carry out raids on enemy front lines and rear positions, mostly under cover of darkness. It was the plane flown by the brave women of the Soviet Night Bomber Regiment, famously dubbed the Night Witches by the Germans. The plane's flight characteristics allowed it to approach targets undetected, gliding silently with the engine off and dropping bombs on the smallest visible targets, even a light of a match. However, during the day, its slow speed and light defensive armament made it highly vulnerable not only to enemy fighters but also to small arms fire. This forced pilots to fly extremely low, hugging the terrain. The engine's rattling noise earned the plane its own nickname from the enemy, "New Machine," or sewing machine. In 1944, after Polikarpov's death, the U-2 was officially renamed the Po-2. Despite this, its original name remained in common use, and still is today. Over 30,000 Po-2s were produced over 25 years in 14 different variants, making it one of the most mass-produced aircraft in history, and the most produced biplane. Thanks to its simplicity and resilience, the Po-2, the humble Sky Slug, thrived despite harsh operational and production conditions. Although it was outclassed in some roles and its design was outdated before World War II even began, it remained a reliable, easy-to-fly aircraft admired by generations of pilots. Polikarpov himself made major contributions to Soviet aviation. He was even called the King of Fighters, as his I-15 Bis, I-153 Chaika, and I-16 fighters formed the backbone of the USSR's pre-war fighter fleet. However, it was the unassuming Po-2, the flying bookshelf, that became the hero of films and songs. The quiet hum of its simple 5-cylinder engine in the night sky ultimately left a more enduring impression on a generation than the roar of more powerful, multi-cylinder engines of other, more imposing planes.